March 2020. A deadly virus sweeps around the world. Overnight, our lives are put on pause.
Today, the WHO declared a pandemic,
issuing a stay home, stay safe order,
directing all of our residents to quite simply stay at home.
But as we stop, remarkable things start to change in the natural world.
With the clear skies, for the first time in a lifetime, we can see the Himalayas.
With beaches closed to humans, these animals were nesting at a more successful rate than we've ever seen.
One vocalizing and then the other. I'd never heard that before.
From the start of lockdown, across 5 continents, we have recorded a global experiment of epic proportions that has shown us, if we choose, we can transform the health of the planet. For all.
Mike, Oliver, Jeff in Las Vegas, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you both for joining me today for Earth Day this year and your 2 specials on Apple TV Plus. I'm excited to talk to you both. Thank you again.
Pleasure. Of course.
Well, Mike, let's begin with you. Your special, The Year the Earth Changed. This is so fascinating because everyone was locked down in the pandemic and something happened with Mother Nature as mankind was locked away. How did these changes happen in the natural world?
Well, how they happened, I mean, that's the million-dollar question. I mean, but in the way in which they happen, I think is what we try to show is that, and of course, animals are highly adaptive. What this really reveals is that for many years, we humans tread so heavily on the earth that animals have had to adapt in ways to change their behavior, change the way they live their lives, to kind of almost avoid the impact of us. Suddenly, we weren't there. And the opportunity for them to either to change, but more likely to revert to the way they really, for want of a better word, want to be. And we were fortunate enough to be able to be there with our cameras to observe some of these changes. And what I suppose it has said is that it reminds us that our actions, even if they're only relatively small ones, have a cumulative effect on all these other creatures that share the earth with us. And sometimes we do them a lot of harm. So maybe if we changed our behavior just a little bit, they could do a lot better. And I hope that's the sort of hopeful message that the film has. It has other stories as well, but I think that's an important part of it.
And what's astonishing is how fast Mother Nature recovered.
No, I think that was the thing that surprised us all. And that's why, as filmmakers, it was quite a challenge, this show, because this documentary, because we had to move pretty quickly. The second we realized that something was happening fairly quickly from just our own experiences, and then luckily Apple were able to give us the commission and move fast, because if you hang around, there wasn't really a story to tell, because you need to get there and see how it evolved over time. So as a documentary to make, it was one of the more challenging ones I've ever been involved in. I've done hundreds because of just the logistics of it. Everywhere in the world that we wanted to go to was really tricky to go to because of lockdown. So yeah, it was a whole new technique in filmmaking, really.
And Oliver, here we are, your special, based on your best-selling book. How essential is it to capture the next generation?
Oh, well, I don't know if that's what I'm trying to do so much as the way in which this came about was I was writing a letter to my newborn son when it occurred to me that it was up to me and his mother to teach him everything, and just the simple premises of what it means to be alive on Earth. But it's the next generation, I think, is more articulate and galvanized than any generation of modern memory in terms of how socially and environmentally responsible we are. Because I don't think we've talked about recycling when I was a kid, and I'm a tender age of 43 years old. But my son now would, instead, he would see a plastic bag on the street, he would pick it up and put it in the bin, whereas we had been told, don't touch that, it's rubbish. So things are changing fast, and I think the next generation, as an audience right now, I feel very humbled and honored to be able to be a part of this conversation and hopefully provoke the right questions without offering any solutions. But I think that's what this film comes down to is they were my simple observations and about just the simple truths of being alive right now. And I hope that is the beginning part of conversations with families about what it means and what is important to them.
I just think capturing the next generation and instilling them a sense of conservation is so important. And also, Mike, cruise from around the world for your special. What was the most astonishing one event that you took away as a filmmaker?
That's such a hard question to ask because they were all in their own way remarkable. Because, as I say, so difficult to pull off. In terms of sort of logistical challenges, I think trying to film those humpbacks was quite hard because you're filming. It's very technical to do that because of the sort of equipment involved, and also because it's a story that happens both above and beneath the oceans. And I love that story because I think it spoke in many ways about what the whole film was about, really, which was about pulling back, drawing back the veil and revealing things that you otherwise couldn't see, but also very empathetic because those are very intelligent, very complex, very very communicative animals, rather like we are, yet they were trying to carry on their lives in a world that we didn't realize was so difficult. Imagine if we were having this interview now, and outside your room and outside my room, there's somebody with one of those pneumatic drills hammering away. That's what it's like for them day in, day out. So to live their lives like that must be really bad. Yet here we are, an opportunity by revealing what it's like when that isn't the situation. It very much speaks to us. And of course, the scientists have said, we've heard sounds we've never heard. We've heard conversations and types of language of calls that these whales make we've never ever heard before. And that, as a scientist, as a biologist, as a wildlife filmmaker, that's fantastic. That's a real joy to be able to tell people about.
And Oliver, for your special, you have some really great talent who lend their voices to your special.
That's true, and they didn't ask me. I'm offended, but whenever I was told that Meryl Streep could be the voice of Mother Earth, I was like, there is just no more perfect choice. I know Chris O'Dowd personally, so I texted him to see if he would do it, and he texted right back. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? But what is so striking is because everybody was, and this is before the pandemic, obviously, we're geographically in very, very different locations. Nobody was in the room at the same time. So nobody was even in the same country at the same time, I think. Meryl did hers in London. Chris was in California. Ruth Nega was in Sydney filming something. And I think Jacob was in Vancouver, maybe. But remarkable group of people. And just yeah.
Mike, and your good luck charm, Mike, of course, is Sir David Attenborough, right?
I was just going to say, getting the right voice for these things is so important. And yeah, I mean, we had you had the voice of Mother Earth. We had the voice of, I know, God.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations on 2 wonderful specials. It's an inspiration, call to action. Thank you both, and happy Earth Day, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you,
Very much. Nice to talk to you.